Game face on, come on.
Take 59,000. Hello and welcome to another RiderCamTV video, and today we're inside and we're going to be talking about cameras. Now this camera, this Drift HD Ghost S, is a camera that I've used perhaps for the last year and a bit. I think Mark's got exactly the same camera and we have it on the side of our helmet. As you can see, it's massive. But it does the trick, and the videos that you've watched...
What, your helmet's massive?
Yeah. The camera's big. A lot of the videos that you've seen while we've been riding have been through this camera, and Mark's on his camera. Really great camera, records in 1080p. I don't see, for me, the point in spending money on getting a camera that records 4K, because unless you've got things to display 4K, it kind of gets lost, and the file size is huge. These are really good, but they are quite big, aren't they? On the side of the helmet, I didn't realise how big they were until this came along, the Drift X. Now this is quite an awesome little camera, and I'll show you what I mean by little. So,
nearly saw your bald spot
old
when you bent down then.
Oh, old one, new one.
Oi.
And we should have a piano playing, shouldn't we? Like that advert, the Audi advert with Kevin. I like this rocket, and I like this rocket, but I'm more of a carrot man.
You need to get a life, mate. Now, how are you going to explain to people who are watching us in America or Canada what Audi is?
I'll put a link in the description.
Alright, okay.
Audi, everybody in the world knows what Audi is.
I bet they don't.
Well,
onwards and upwards.
Yeah, onwards and upwards. Anyway, the cameras, as you can see, are hugely different size. I mean, that is a tiny little camera.
If you put them down there, we might be able to see them.
Here. Follow me down.
Follow me down. There you go.
See how much of a difference those camera sizes are. Now, when we initially bought this camera,
I'm coming up.
Come up. When we initially bought this camera, the reason that we bought the Drifts over GoPros are really good, but the reason that we bought these were, one, you had detachable batteries that just come out with having to remove the whole camera and stuff. Two, it had a screen on the back that was Integra, and at that time the GoPros didn't come out with a screen on the back. You had to buy an extra screen which then fitted in, which was a bit of a faff. And you can mount it anywhere because the lens actually revolves around, so if you had it mounted there, you could still get the camera to record upright. That's making sense, isn't it?
It makes sense to me.
So these cameras are really good. You can have the remote control on your bike, all that sort of stuff, and you can set it to take pictures. You can set it to I'm not sure what they call it, like timestamp or save a certain certain part of the video to save it, much like a dash cam. It's got all the controls, big buttons on the top, so you can find them even when you've got your gloves on. But the battery only lasts about 3 hours. So move on to baby. The Drift S.
Baby cam.
Yeah. Not only is it really tiny, but I noticed that I never ever used the screen on the other one ever. Now this one, the same as the Ghost S, has got a Wi-Fi, so you can actually see what you're pointing at, so you can still angle the lens so you can mount it anywhere. It comes with exactly the same mounting kit, so if you've been using the old Drift HD or HD Ghost or Drift of any sort, they come with the same connections, so if you've got them stuck over your bike, it makes sense to stay with the same people. So you can still move and get that camera upright, so you're recording the right thing. The buttons have changed on the top, so you've got 3 buttons. You've got an on-off button, moving around all of your menus, and a play and a stop and all that.
Is that called a moving around all of your menus button?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and like a instigate your Wi-Fi, but it's still got a screen on the back. And the screen on the back only shows you, if I turn it on, it only shows you certain bits of information. So it will tell you your Wi-Fi signal, what you're recording in 1080, how many frames per second, how many files you've got, how full the SD camera is, and how full the battery is. But
SD camera, SD card?
SD card.
All right.
Yeah. But the buttons are really easy to find. They got a better press, because I did find that on this one, when you're pressing it, and I know Mark's the same because when we edit the videos, all we can see in the camera is this hand going, oh, will this damn thing turn on? Will it turn on? And you're kind of pressing for ages to get it to turn on, and it takes ages to turn on, and then you realise you haven't actually pressed the button, and it's all a bit of a faff. But it was good in its day. This, the buttons are bigger, easier to find, but 5-hour battery life with that battery that comes with it standard. But you can buy a bigger battery that's 8 hours. So rather than having to take, I've got 3 or 4 different batteries for this. So on a tour that I'm going around to make the video for the customers, or for RiderCam, I've got several batteries and they're always going flat. Remains to be seen if it does last 5 hours or 8 hours, but really good little idea. And why would you need a massive screen on there now? And I'm thinking with that by the side on your helmet, because it's smaller, whether I'd see a difference in wind noise.
Possibly.
Possibly. Because that is a big camera. And you've got all the usual refinements. So coming down to this little box.
Oh, it's all about the box, all about the packaging with Toby.
But it is really difficult to get things out, so...
It's only going to come out once, mate. There's only a helmet.
You get these handy stickers, which I've never ever put on, like Apple stickers, so they can go. And you get this lovely handy thing, this handy guide to tell you exactly what you're going to be using it for, and you can also get an app for Android and Apple. Now, we use...
What's in the box? What's in the box?
Well, we get asked, don't we, all the time, how we use microphones, what microphones we use. So we just use a standard microphone that literally plugs into the back of here. It's a 3.5mm, oh, we use 3.5mm jacks, the actual microphone that you can buy from Drift. And then it goes straight into the back, but it's a different size. It's not like the headsets that you've got on your phone. Neither is this one, because what they've done is they've combined all of the connections on the bottom. So you've got your charging port down there and your SD card right down at the bottom. So if you can imagine, it's riding like that, so the water's not going to go in there. It's not waterproof as it is, but it's going to be as waterproof as this one is.
I think generally they are waterproof, you know.
They're really good.
I've had them in some horrendous weather and it's never leaked, although the screen is now misty on mine.
Oh, but they do say that you can get the proper case, much like the GoPros and stuff, that encase the whole thing to make it fully waterproof. But like Mark said, I've never ever had a problem. We've been through some horrendous weather. But it comes with the adapter.
Oh.
Literally, the adapter just plugs straight into the bottom, and then you plug in your mic into there. So the only thing for our helmets, because we've got it all plumbed into the helmet, is just to plug the microphone in there that's already plugged into it. So we're going to have that extra unsightly thing to get rid of in the helmet. But other than that, that's it.
Cool.
Tiny, tiny little thing. Now, I have seen a lot of different vloggers and bloggers, that sort of thing, using these. And the quality is just really good. It does 1080p and all of those sort of things. I think it does 12 megapixel stills and photos, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, so, and also this one, the reason that I saw it was I was on a tour and one of my clients had one of these strapped to the bike, recording all the time, and they were using a different Drift. I think it was one of these to actually record what they wanted to record for their video. And I said, well, why have you got all these cameras? And he said, well, he uses this because this has got a specific DVR mode for loop recording, so much like a dash cam. So you'll see at some point we're going to be fitting dash cam things to our bike. But if you wanted a really cheap alternative that's really easy to fit and just pointing one way, obviously, this does looping recording, which will go over and over and loop all your stuff. Pretty handy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Comes with 2 little mounts.
More stuff in the box.
And they think of everything. 2 little mounts, one flat and one curved. Now, as with GoPro, these are what cost the money, aren't they? All of the adaptions and stuff to get them to stick everywhere. But if you've got an old one, they all work with exactly the same stuff. And that is all you get in the box. But, Mark, what's the great bit about this camera?
Oh, is it because it's small? And is it because it's a lot cheaper than a lot of other ones?
Yeah.
There you go.
Now I bought this one, and this was like 250 quid, and yet it was brand new, all singing, all dancing. It was the newest one out. This one, £129.
That's amazing.
I mean, that is just incredible for the same, for what I can see other than the screen. Exactly the same stuff, bit better. Yes, you got to compromise with having that sticking out the bottom rather than out the back. So some people might not like having to hide something extra. But to be honest, 129 quid for a little camera like that.
Bargain.
Real bargain.
Buy.
Yeah. I mean, I've recorded a little bit with it, but I haven't got a card in there at the moment. But I just wanted to go through the Ghost X. So this, like we were saying, it's got a 5-hour battery as standard. Now you can buy one that is a little bit thicker and it's 8 hours. But if you do get this, we've had a bit of a play around with it. And it's really difficult to get the battery out. You literally have to put your nail in and pull it out. And the first time it was stiff as hell. Because that has got to fit into there, and it's got two little nibs on the end, which I didn't know. They kind of push in. So if I use this little reset tool they also give you here, I don't know whether you can see that those little nibs go in. Is that showing on the camera?
A little bit.
Yeah. Is that better?
Sound like an optician. Is that better or worse?
With one? Is it better
Put it down
with
against
one?
the light and we'll see.
I'll put it back up.
Oh, hang on.
Is it better with one or two? Right. So if we can come down, can you see the nib sticking out there? That nib there?
Sort of. Oh, yeah.
And then they actually they push in. So they're on a little bit of a spring. And the reason that I say that is because when you put it back in, initially you think that you should have to put those nibs in because there's two little holes there. Put that nib in and then push in. Don't do that, you're going to break it if you do. Literally, as Mark found out, you push it in so it's flat like that and then just push it in until it clicks.
Cool.
Which is much, much easier, isn't it? Having said that, on the old one, it's really easy to get the battery out because you just do that, unclip it, and the battery comes out. So there are some, I would say, some compromises for something so small that you might have to make.
I must say that on this old one, on the older version, that actually gives you a bit of more of a secure feeling about it being waterproof.
Yeah. But this seems to have quite a seal around it, quite a plastic. I mean, it's solid, but when it goes in there, it's got quite a seal.
Yeah.
And there is a rubber gasket. If I can get this to show you, there is a rubber gasket around here. So it doesn't matter if this gets wet, it's a sealed unit, I guess, but this is a sealed gasket that then goes into the little indent in there. So really easy to put together. And underneath here, with this handy little tool, underneath here, you might think that you'd poke this into these holes. They're the microphones. So don't poke them in there because they'll have a membrane in there to reset it. But if you do need to reset it, there's a tiny little reset button. You probably won't be able to see it on the camera, just in there that you press this. It's like a SIM ejection tool from a mobile phone just to reset it in there. So, really good little thing. And we said that it fits on exactly the same
bracket. We'll use the word bracket.
Hinge and bracket.
How old are you?
Do not put in the comments who's hinge and who is bracket. But on the Circle, it's got a standard. I don't know what size it is, but a standard screw hole for mounting on like a tripod or that sort of thing. It's a standard size, I think.
Camera mount.
That's it.
We'll use the words camera mount.
Yeah.
But tomorrow we'll discuss colours.
Excellent. But inside, we've got these teeth. Hopefully you'll be able to see the teeth on the camera. And on here, there's the teeth the other way. So it literally goes in, and you even get a handy bit to screw in, which is unlike some of the other cameras that you see. And it literally just screws in. Now, if you want it to angle on your helmet like that, because that's how your helmet needs to be sat, but you want the camera straight like that, you can angle it and it just fits in the tooth, and then you just tighten up. You can tighten up with a screwdriver, but usually hand tight. I've never had one of these come off, and it literally just fits in. Now I do like on this, don't hate me, on some other cameras like GoPros, when you're trying to put the GoPro mount into the holder, i.e. this bit into this bit, you don't always get a satisfying click, and especially when you put it into on your helmet just before you go, it's always nice to hear that satisfactory couple of clicks that resonate through the helmet to make sure that it's actually on, and you get that. It's quite a nice click, and they actually click out, so it's really secure. And what I do like about that, and GoPro did have the issue, and they brought out a little plastic bung for inside because their mounts were very loose, and they brought out a tiny little plastic bung. Some people have probably seen it in the package and thought, what on earth is that for? But it fitted inside so that it didn't wobble about, but you can hear that there's nothing, no movement at all. And as we all know, when we're recording on a camera, sound is key. And if you're recording even that kind of noise at a low level, it's really loud right next to the microphone. So that's why we get good sound. Really, really good bit kit. I love it. Really good little camera. What do you think of it, Mark?
Like it. I'll buy your other one off you though.
So if you've liked the video, I would say if you've hated it, hit that down button. We don't like that. Hit that subscribe button and that like button, because it does mean an awful lot to us, and we always read your comments. We might not be the fastest in replying at the moment because we're all over the place, and as you'll see in one of the previous videos, we were finally in the same country at the same time, and we are this time. It's just that the weather is appalling, so that's why we're inside. But if you've liked the video, thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.